There is someone watching this right now, and you are holding on to a person God has already asked you to let go of. You feel it in your spirit. You have felt it for months, maybe even years. It is that nagging lack of peace every time you are around them, that exhaustion you feel after every conversation, and that quiet whisper in your heart that says, "This season is over." But you are terrified to listen. You are afraid that if you let them go, you will be alone, or you feel guilty thinking that walking away makes you a bad Christian or a bad friend. In the United States, we are often taught that loyalty is the highest virtue, that we should stick it out no matter what. But I need you to hear this hard truth tonight. Sometimes loyalty to a person is disloyalty to your calling. You might be keeping a door open that God is desperately trying to close. You are rereading a chapter of your life over and over again, hoping the ending will change, but God is standing there with a pen in his hand, waiting to write a new story, and he cannot start the next chapter until you finish the last one. Some people were only meant to be chapters in your life, not the whole book. If you keep forcing them into the narrative, you aren't just hurting yourself, you are delaying the destiny God has prepared for you. Let's talk about why this is so difficult. We often fall in love with potential rather than reality. You look at this person, maybe it's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a business partner, or even a childhood friend, and you don't see who they are right now, you see who they could be. You see the good in them because you have a good heart. You think, if I just love them enough, if I just pray for them enough, they will change. Meet Sarah, a fictional young woman living in New York City who represents so many of us. Sarah is dating a man who constantly drains her energy, questions her worth, and pulls her away from her faith. But Sarah stays. Why? Because she remembers who he was 3 years ago, or she imagines who he could be 5 years from now. She is dating a memory and a fantasy, not the reality. God is looking at Sarah and saying, "My child, I didn't ask you to fix him, I asked you to follow me." You have to realize that you cannot love someone into their potential if they are not willing to grow. As Amos 3:3 asks, can two walk together unless they are agreed? You cannot walk in your divine purpose with someone who is walking in the opposite direction. No amount of prayer will force someone to align with your destiny if they have chosen a different path. Consider the story of Abraham in the Bible, the father of faith. God called Abraham to leave his country, his people, and his father's household to go to a land God would show him. It was a command to leave the familiar behind. But Abraham, perhaps out of fear or obligation, brought his nephew Lot with him. Lot wasn't bad, but Lot wasn't called to where Abraham was going. And because Abraham held on to what was familiar, he faced unnecessary conflict, strife, and delay. There was drama over land, arguments between their herdsmen, and eventually a painful separation was forced upon them. But notice this fascinating detail in Scripture. God did not speak to Abraham again about the promise until Lot separated from him. I want you to let that sink in. Could it be that God has been silent in this season of your life because you are still clinging to a lot that he asked you to release? Could it be that the breakthrough, the clarity, and the peace you are praying for are waiting on the other side of your obedience? Your delay might be connected to who you are holding on to.
I know what the enemy whispers to you late at night. He says, if you leave, you're abandoning them. You're being selfish. But let's look at Jesus. Jesus is the definition of love, yet he did not give everyone equal access to him. He had crowds, he had the 70, he had the 12 disciples, and then he had the inner circle of Peter, James, and John. Boundaries are biblical. Jesus even let Judas walk away. He washed Judas's feet. He loved him. But when Judas made his choice to betray him, Jesus didn't beg him to stay. He didn't chase him down. He let him go. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is release someone to their own choices. You were not responsible for their happiness. You were responsible for your obedience. If you have to constantly explain your worth to someone, if you have to shrink yourself to make them feel comfortable, or if you have to compromise your relationship with God to keep the peace with them, that is not a God-ordained connection. That is a cage. And God did not send his Son to die for you to live in a cage of someone else's making. There is a profound freedom that comes when you finally surrender this to God. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing." But notice the condition. You have to forget the former things to see the new thing. You cannot embrace the future while hugging the past. Imagine you are standing on the edge of a cliff and God is calling you to jump into a river of grace and new beginnings below, but you are holding on to a jagged rock on the edge because you are scared. That rock is cutting your hands, it is making you bleed, but it feels safe because it is familiar. God is saying, let go. He isn't asking you to let go because He wants you to be lonely. He wants you to let go because He wants you to be healed. He wants to bring people into your life who pour into you, not just take from you. People who recognize the gold in you without you having to convince them. But those people cannot enter your life if the space is already taken by people who don't belong there. So, how do you actually do this? How do you let go in a way that honors God? First, you have to stop confusing history with destiny. Just because someone was with you in the beginning doesn't mean they are supposed to be with you at the end. Second, you must forgive them. Release the bitterness, release the anger, and release the need for them to understand why you are leaving. Sometimes you won't get closure from them. You have to get closure from God. You pray, Lord, I release them into your hands. I forgive them for the hurt, and I forgive myself for staying too long. And then you have to be brave enough to grieve. It is okay to be sad. It is okay to miss them, but do not mistake missing them for a sign that you made the wrong decision. You can miss something and still know it was toxic for you. You can love someone and still know they are not your future. Trust that God is the author of your story. If He removes a character, it is because their part in the story is over, and He is preparing to introduce a new plot line that is greater than you can imagine. I want to speak directly to the person who feels like they are too old or it is too late to start over. You might be thinking, but I have invested 5 years, 10 years into this. Listen to me. Do not spend another 5 minutes paying for a mistake just because you spent a long time making it. God can restore the years the locusts have eaten. He is a redeemer. He can do more in 6 months of obedience than you can do in 10 years of striving in your own strength. When you finally open your hands and let go of what is dead, you make room for God to place something living in them. You are His child. He has plans to prosper you, to give you hope and a future. He sees you crying yourself to sleep. He sees the loneliness. He is near to the brokenhearted. But He loves you too much to let you settle for less than His best. Trust His heart even when you can't trace His hand. As we end this, I want you to take a deep breath. Feel the weight of that relationship, that friendship, or that situation you have been carrying. Now visualize yourself handing it over to Jesus. Tell Him, I trust you more than I trust my feelings. It is time to walk away from the table where love is no longer being served. It is time to step out of the boat and walk on the water with Jesus. Yes, the storm might be scary, but it is safer to be in the storm with Jesus than in the boat with people who are sinking you. You are loved. You are chosen. You are seen. And God has something so much better waiting for you on the other side of this goodbye. Be strong and let go. Good night.